is time for Seattle Connected, the show that connects you, who? The people, with entrepreneurs, business people, movers and shakers in our community, letting you know who they are before they become household names, which we know they soon will be. Today's guests are very special guests. Two beautiful, intelligent women who are in this community making strides always. I heard about their names before I even had a show, before I thought about having a show. So I said, you know what, one day I would like to connect with them, and I put it on my bucket list. So today we are here with community activists, community leaders, just good role models for our kids. Please welcome my new friends, Miss TraeAnna and Miss Jaqueline.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Grand Rising family.
Yes. How was the intro? I always have to ask, how was the intro? Was it all right?
Amazing.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, cool. So, yes, because I might need you to come back one day. So, be on my best behavior. Thank you guys for stopping by.
Yeah.
How was the commute?
Well, I'm close. I'm in the city,
Okay.
CD, so it's like 6 minutes on GPS.
Yes.
Boom, boom, boom. I was down here from
Okay.
CD to Pioneer Square, easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the city.
I was already in Pioneer Square, so it worked out for me. So I just walked
Yes.
3 minutes. It was
Oh,
good.
nice. And I still owe you that cider, so I'm not going to forget.
I won't let you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. All right. That makes it even easier. Yeah. So, man, where do we begin? I met one of your colleagues at Langston Hughes a couple of months ago. Shout out to Ash.
Yeah.
And
Ash.
yeah, she was so awesome. And I felt compelled to like meet her after she was done speaking after the film that we watched. Sound of the Police. Please watch that. It's really It's impactful. It's awesome. You have to check it out. Sound of the Police. Anyway, so she was talking, and I was like, man, I got to meet her. And so she was just so cool and everything. And she told me about, the things that you guys have going on. And so, before she did, she was saying, have you heard about the covenant? And I said, no, but I'd like to know. And so she started talking, and I was just like, wow, I got to know more. Something that I want to be a part of. And so we exchanged contact information, and a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, she hits me up. She's like, hey, you want to be in the parade? I was like, yeah, hey, I've done a lot of stuff, but I've never been in a parade before.
Who don't love a parade?
Yeah.
That's nice.
I think one time when I was little, I ran out in the parade. I wasn't supposed to. Well, it was my brother's friend, Reg. He had this nice lowrider. It was I think it was a Buick Skylark.
Oh, sweet.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. It was nice. And so I was like, yo, we're going up. And this is when it went up Martin Luther King.
All right.
Over there by Barnett Park. So, and I was like, yo, he's like, come on in. I hopped in the back, man. I was like, yeah. I felt all cool because I knew my friends were going to see me in there. I felt like it was my car for the day. So shout out to Reg. But yeah, so I was so happy to be a part of the parade. And it wasn't just because I was in the parade. It was, I was standing with like-minded people who really cared about the community. And they all embraced me and, hey, how you doing? It's good to meet you. I want to stay in touch with you. I want to stay in touch with you. Let me know if you need anything. Here's a sign. And they made it official. And I was just like, man, this is awesome.
Come on.
And just seeing everyone talk to each other, I could tell they had a genuine love, to be around each other. Because how sometimes people who work together on certain projects, it's like they have a mutual respect, but they don't necessarily, it's more business.
Yeah,
They're
they
like
don't have that love necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between, people that are just colleagues and people that are friends.
All right.
And being around them, I was like, no, these guys are family. They're family. So after the parade and everybody got to see me do my thing, I met so many people after that. Yeah. And a couple of them became a guest on my show. And Ash stayed in touch. And I said, well, when are we going to make this happen? She's like, oh, I got to hook you up with TraeAnna. I was like, I know that name, but I haven't met her yet. She said, okay, we'll make it happen.
The infamous
I'm gonna connect
TraeAnna.
you. Right, yeah, the infamous, right? So she was like, I'm going to connect you. So I was so happy when you responded. I was like, oh, yeah, she responded. Because I've seen a lot of your work, and I know you stay busy in a good way, and you enjoy what you're doing. So thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, I just keep babbling. But I would like for you guys to tell the people at home who are hearing about the covenant for the first time, what is the covenant?
Yeah, this is such a great question. I mean, the covenant really started 3 years ago as we were looking at, ways to kind of impact the community in a positive way and be reminded of how cultures and societies were built early on. Like first civilizations, they all had a covenant. It was something like a set of principles that everyone in the community was living by that allowed for them to have continuity of ideals in the community, right? And in society. So we were like, well, that's what's missing, right? We have a lot of violence we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lot of disruption. How can we have something that brings us all together? And it was going back to the understanding of like ancient societies and saying we need another covenant. We need a covenant that reflects the sign of the times we're living in, something that allows people to tap into something that is shared by everyone. And when you're all living it in a community, you agree to these principles, you're living these principles, you're exemplifying them, and you're raising the next generations up to understand that this is what it means to be in community. It's not about proximity to one another. It's not about neighborhoods. It's about how we are coming together collectively. And so we started this idea, 3 years ago. And then when we lost Devon Pickett Jr. last year, there was a need for folks to want to do something because we had lost so many great folks in our community. And so shout out to our brother, Elijah L. Lewis, yes. Auntie, I know your nephew, right? Yes. Like our family member, however he was, however it shakes out for us, who brought us together in a meeting of community people to say, what are we going to do now? And let's reimagine the covenant again, because then it had been 2 years or so, a little over 2 years, maybe since we had first started the idea with a smaller group of organizers. And, and the covenant was rebirth, basically, to say, let's infuse it with some strong energy. Let's come together with the principles that we're going to abide by in community that allow us to have a collective raising of our consciousness so we can be in community together and really exemplify and live these principles.
Yeah, and if I can just add on to that, the collective community organizers were born, as Trey has mentioned, because of the work and the need to find a solution-based way to stop the gun violence, to disrupt gun violence. And so we did come together, as TraeAnna had said, it was 3 years ago, but I speak from the standpoint of an elder in the community. Back in the day when the community wasn't disrupting with gun violence, that we were able to have agreements to disagree, but it doesn't have to end in death. And so I am so proud to be and honored to be a part of this tribe because we have lost Devon Pickett Jr., Elijah Lewis, and I stand in the place of the elders in the community to say we have to go back to the basics. We have to be able to, as one of the principles says, stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, looking back to look forward. And I'm sure that we can all in this room understand what it means to be respectable, that if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing out in the streets before you get home, that phone on the wall is going to be ringing like, Mrs. Jackson, what was David doing out there? Or whatever. We have to get back to those principles, that we are each other's keepers. And so, again, we're a collective group of anti-racist, anti-bias organizers that love our community. We love one another. We are going to disrupt it with the mind shift of changing that culture.
Yes. Yeah. And when you said that, Miss Jack, listen, you took me back. I was like, oh,
just
boy.
like that, right?
Did you know? Like, did you hear that? I was a good kid. I just a little mischievous at times, but I always knew that I never wanted things to get to that point because I had such a high regard for my family and what they meant to everyone who met them and what my neighbors meant to my family and so on. So I was always looking to make good choices based on, like you were saying, community, a tribe, because I wasn't going out just representing myself. I was representing so many people, going back to our ancestors. And, I always think about our elders or for counsel there to give us the guidance and the tools to make the right decisions.
Yes.
And I know sometimes some of the elders look at the youth and they say, I wasn't like that back when, this and that. But I think it helps when we have people such as yourself who you're not in a place of judgment. You're like, okay, I see this person struggling.
Come on now.
Let me see what I can do to help them.
Yeah.
And not just point a finger. Because when you feel like someone's pointing a finger at you, your first instinct is to, go the other way.
Exactly.
Respond and you can't tell me what to do type of
Exactly.
thing. Instead of just say, all right, let me see where they're coming from. So I think that's awesome. Like with your approach is, hey, I'm not trying to nag you. I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to help you. And I think that's what's awesome about the covenant, because it's, you have your principles, which I'd love for you to read in a second.
Absolutely.
But they all kind of tie into the same philosophy and about people being, responsible and just taking ownership, of the choices that they make. And I think that way it makes it a cool brother sisterhood kind of thing. We're all on the same page.
Right.
And that's something you can take with you wherever you go.
But oftentimes, actually, David, we're not all on the same page. There are
true.
young people right now today that are jobless, they are homeless, they are hungry, they don't have the advantage of having two parents. They are out there.
Yeah.
And so what I say is that don't tap out, tap in. Everybody has different skills, talents, and abilities. And if it's not you to go to a school and speak to a 200-person assembly, if that's not you, that's okay. Reach one, teach one.
Yeah.
Let me be that one elder to say to that one young lady, baby, come here. What's going on? Because we're not all on the same page. We know that the crack epidemic took out a whole generation of mamas and daddies. So we got babies raising babies. We just don't have what you sound like you grew up with, a mom and a daddy in a stable home. But at the same time, we have to plug into what resources are in our community. And there's some amazing resources out there. Community passageways every Friday at Safeway. They're playing music, giving out food, talking to the kids one-on-one. So you have to tap in and find out, what is your skill? What can you contribute to our community to save us? And everybody has something to contribute. We all don't have to do the same work. TraeAnna has an amazing show, A Day with Trae. Every day she is spitting out some serious wisdom and love.
Yeah.
For her community. So we have to figure it out. How do we tap in? But what we don't want to do is turn a blind eye, turn a deaf ear, and say, them bad kids. Because with elder home invasion, look, I'm happy that somebody's trying to do the work, because I don't need somebody knocking my back door open.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Trae? We have to appreciate what everybody's trying to do, because eventually we're saving ourselves.
Yeah, we all have these gifts, right? And ultimately, how do they pour into the pot of brilliance? And I always say to my kids, the one thing that I can do is exemplify how I utilize my gifts to pour into the pot of brilliance, right? If you go away to college or whatever, you internship, externship, you learn the skill and you bring it back into the pot, right? You go and you learn and you bring it back. And so I think that this understanding of us as a collective kind of organizing group is really uplifting what everybody brings to that pot of brilliance. And there's a lot of ideas that we've been able to kind of go over this year to really solidify what does it mean in terms of the covenant work, what is our work. And so really honing in on it is, first off, we have to live these principles, right? I mean, it's great because we're going to read them to y'all today. We're going to make sure y'all get them. But ultimately, we have to live them because we have to exemplify them out in community. We have to actualize the example of what it looks like to live them. And so we got to learn how to live them, because some of these may be newer for some of us, right? Or for most of us. You know, we weren't necessarily taught a certain thing to like, oh, I grew up doing this already, so I know how to do it. So we have to learn how to live it. And then really we got to then be pushing it, right? And so I just love Auntie Jackie's spirit, because she's like, look, I'm out here, I'm retired, but I ain't tired.
Come on, girl.
I'm ready to get these principles. You know, we're going to get them on poster boards, and we're going to get them put up in businesses, because that's us pushing it. We want to work with schools and get it in the minds of and hearts of young people, because that's us pushing it. So really, that's the work of the covenant. And I'm glad you had us on, David, because this is exciting to be talking about all the things that we're doing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I tried to think about when I wanted to have my own platform. And I got tired of hearing our stories told by other people and sitting, waiting for someone to do the work that we're doing. Like, you can't always expect someone to see things the way you do. So I can see your movement is important, but the next person might not see what I see, right? So I always said, okay, instead of waiting and saying, oh, why don't someone, tell our stories like this, or tell our stories outside of February, I said, you know what? I'm going to tell our stories, and I'm going to find people on here to tell their stories, because their voices need to be heard.
And I love that. Did you say outside of February?
Come on, outside of February.
Indicating that it's 365 days, 12 months. We Black all the time.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And we're
not just the shortest month of the year.
Come on. I love it, David.
With that, I said, okay, well, Seattle Connected, I want to show the diversity in our community. And I literally will connect people with each other. It's always funny. I'll run into someone, or I'll talk to someone, and they'll say, oh, I saw that episode. Can you da-da-da-da-da? And I'm not asking for a favor. I got you. So I'll call Trey. Hey, someone wants to, okay, cool. I got you. All right. And then that's a connection that she has. And then just keep going on and on and on, and, strengthen ourselves, strengthen each other. So I think we all can do our part. Just like you were saying with the young, everyone has something. It's about tapping into that.
Tap on in.
And I love talking to young people and seeing what they're into or something, and knowing someone in that field. So it's like, well, why aren't you doing X, Y, and Z? Well, they don't have that program at my school, but I know where there is a program like that.
Yeah.
Or I have someone who can mentor you. And they're like, dang, really? I'm like,
find out the resources.
Let me make a call.
Yes, find out the resources. And I have to put a plug in for the William Gross Center, the William Gross Cultural Innovation and Enterprise Center on 23rd and Yesler. And that's an amazing place for young people to go to explore their genius, their creativity. There's gaming and coding. There's a whole plethora of classes that you can take to explore your genius. So there's a number of resources in the community, and I hope that there is not one young person standing on the corner figuring out, what do I do with my life? There are places to go. There are people like TraeAnna and David that are here to support your dreams. So dream on, young kings and queens.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dream big, right?
Yeah, dream big.
I think that's a part of being plugged into community. That's another reason why the covenant was rebirthed, in a sense, reborn. And let's really figure out how to get people to tap into something that then allows us to be like, okay, you got it too. Okay, you living that way too. Okay, cool. Because then it kind of cuts out some of the uncertainty about, getting connected to other people too, because we now live in an age where we're just so individualized, right? We're like this on our phones. It's micro targeting us in terms of all of the advertising we're getting. I say almond milk and it's showing me an almond cow. Like these things are real, right? And so we have to be able to understand, like, this is the age our young people are growing up in. So how can we give them something that allows them to cut through the red tape a little bit? Because if I know that if I come across Auntie Jackie, we're sharing the same values here.
Absolutely.
We're sharing the same principles.
Absolutely.
And
10 toes down.
Exactly.
Girl.
And for young people to have that's brilliant, because again, then maybe the ideas around, I need to pick up a gun to protect myself from you because I'm uncertain about the harm you're going to cause to me.
All right.
You know what I mean? Those kind of things start to diminish. And that's really the goal of the covenant and having these shared principles.
Right. And we have to stop glamorizing facing the gangsta life, you know, because there are kids out there because they don't know. When you know better, you do better. But some people, all they know is, you know, it's good to look hard and tough, and, you know, it's about the gangster life and throwing up the signs. But guess what else it's about? It's about the covenant. That's what we do. That's the new culture shift. It's cool to be in the covenant.
Yes.
I would encourage everyone to become an ambassador to the government, to the covenant. You can go to our website, if it's okay right now, www.the-covenant.org. Become an ambassador. That's what's going on. That's when you're really connected and you're hooked up with the real life of being in Seattle. And hopefully this will carry on to many other countries that are facing the same situation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the idea has always been, how can we model it, right? How can we start in kind of the King County area, model it with a lot of the cities here in King County, and then really help other cities understand, like, okay, the Detroit covenant, what does it look like to have a covenant in Chicago? Like, it's different for different areas because they have other understandings. Maybe there's some cultural differences or some differences for their region or, you know, their area. How can this be something that we exemplify here, and then that spreads? I mean, that's the goal. First, let's get Washington State all with their own covenants, whether it looks like something different in Spokane versus Seattle, cool. But ultimately, it's driven by community members and those who are living in that community that say, this is what it means to live in our community.
That's it.
And so that's really another kind of longer term goal, is us establishing a real strong foothold here in Washington State where everyone understands what the covenant is. Everyone knows how to create their own covenant. You know, schools are doing this, BSU, you know, Black student unions. Like, starting with the young folks is really key to this, because we know that they're a driving force.
Yes.
And it's really their lives that are being so heavily disrupted by gun violence. Ultimately, right? They're being, their friends are getting shot. They're losing friends, classmates. So how do we do this in a way that's really impactful for them?
And David, I just have to say, I've been enjoying just being in your space with you, because I don't know your parents, but they did a good job raising you, because absolutely, you, I mean, just a beautiful smile and just welcoming us into your space and looking at the big picture of how you can help connect this work to the community. So I just want to publicly say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing a beautiful job, beautiful young man. So,
Thank you.
and we down like 4 flats on a Cadillac,
Hey,
David. We
listen.
about to do this thing with
Come
the
on.
covenant. So
And-
thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for, you know, saying so. I always just try to carry myself in a light where, if my parents were here, you know, what would they be thinking? What would they say? You know, and because they're not here now, I never used it as an excuse to make bad decisions. Going back to what you were saying, you know, if you knew better, you do better. I knew better, you know. So I always took that like, okay, but I know right from wrong. So because my friend over here might have not grown up in the same type of household that I did, doesn't give me a pass to mimic what he's doing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so I always try to carry myself like that. And you always have to think about your future. You know, I don't want to do something today that I'm going to regret tomorrow.
Yes.
And that might have a lasting effect on my family, my kids, their kids. You know what I mean? So I'm always trying to think about the next step, you know, and how I can help somebody else. And even if I just help that one person, that person might end up helping 100 people, 1,000 people.
Right.
You know,
Share
just-
the knowledge.
Just like saving a
Share
life.
the knowledge.
And I was going to say, I heard her call you Auntie Jackie. Would you be my auntie also?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so now everybody needs that cool auntie. So I got a cool Auntie Jackie.
Absolutely.
Yes. My auntie's flyer than yours. Hey, best believe. Yes. Yes. So, is it time for the principals?
Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
Are we ready? Are they ready?
Yes, they are.
We're
They're
gonna get 'em
ready.
ready.
So
Come
we'll
on,
go
Trey.
ahead. We'll pass them back and forth.
Why don't you read half?
I'll
these,
read the
and then
first
I'll
half.
read-
And
Come
then,
on.
okay, there we go. So,
that.
y'all, these are 17 principles that make up the covenant. And the first one is, we honor Sankofa, looking back to look forward. Number 2, we stand on the shoulders of our honorable ancestors. Their insight guides us. Number 3, We are rooted in the best of our wisdom and traditions. Number 4, we understand that internal peace is our natural response to all challenges.
About to have some church up in here.
Come on.
Number 5, we are all one. Those who appear against us have yet to realize this truth. Number 6, we resolve conflicts by implementing win-win solutions. Number 7, we avoid doing ourselves harm by avoiding doing harm to others. Number 8, we hold ourselves and each other accountable with integrity, respect, and discretion. Number 9, we are self-reflective and work to not point the finger at others.
Let me just pick up with 11.
Number 10.
Number 10. We prioritize relationships, establishing trust and true connections. Number 12, we work together to protect our community.
That's 11, I think.
11, I'm sorry. 12, we build based on the reality of the current environment and the people we serve. We share knowledge, each one teach one. We do not speak on what we do not know. We engage in consistent education. We stay efficient through transparency and honesty. And number 17, we speak truth. Our word is bond. And those are the 17 covenant principles that we hope you too will embrace and join us in this.
Absolutely.
And I would like to add number 18, when in doubt, read all 17 again.
There it is.
Till it makes sense, because it does. Those are all like reflective of life. It's just like, just hearing them, I don't know, just
Gives
hearing
you
them out loud.
chills.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just like, this just makes so much sense. Like, God, you want to share it with everyone.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer, and it's also really reflective of, again, you know, our ancestors, you know, understanding that they lived a lot of this. I mean, they knew it. This is what societies were built on. This is what civilization was birthed from, were the ideas that we could collectively be in mindset of one another. And those who didn't abide by covenant principles didn't get to say that they were in community. In a sense, they were a bit ostracized, because it was like, you don't get to be partaking in the bounty and brilliance of our community if you are out here to cause harm to our community. And so we recognize it in today's times is, if you are one of those folks that's like shooting and killing people in the community, you don't get to say that you're living these principles. You're not. You're causing harm. If you're someone who knows that someone's causing harm and you're deciding to protect them, because, hey, that's my nephew. He's living in my basement. I know he was out there doing some things, and you know what I'm saying? But that's still my blood, and I can't. But we got to do something to help these young folks who are choosing to pick up guns and harm and hurt other people. We just need to do something about it. And it really starts with us. And that's why I appreciate these principles, because they're we statements, right? So collectively, what are we doing?
Come on.
How are we moving? I get to say that I'm in sidestep with Auntie Jackie here because we are moving like this.
That's
right.
Down like
David,
folk
now
flats on a
you get to
Cadillac.
join us and be like,
Come
all
on,
right,
David.
we
Come
moving
on,
like
David.
this.
That's right.
There it is.
This is how we
so,
moving.
So we
on.
encourage you again, you know, go to the-covenant.org. You can sign up to be an ambassador, which basically means that you too will live these principles, and you'll spread them with other folks, and you'll, you know, make sure that, you know, when we have big events, we're going to be reaching out to the ambassadors saying, come and, you know, join us on the marches, parades, whatever, because we really want to show up in a big major way right here in King County and beyond. We're going to be spreading this. We want want people to have different covenants that make sense for them. And we encourage you to really listen at what we're saying today, and then read these principles in a way that really, if they resonate with you, if it makes sense for you, if you're tired of, folks ducking and dodging bullets too, and you want to do something, this is something that you can do.
And lastly, can I just say that we come from greatness, and some of us, we only look back on the history of slavery. But when you realize that 4,000 years ago, we were kings and queens, we come from greatness. We are the original artists, scientists, mathematicians, designers. We are great. And so our history will not be erased. We are who we are. It's in our DNA. So all we have to do is shift our mind. If you see something, say something. Help that person reach their greatness. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, guys.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, we could do a 10-part episode like this because the work is never done.
Never.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much. And can you please tell them one more time how they can get in touch with you, please?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go,
one more time.
We definitely have a website. There is a contact us on that website. Go ahead and go to the-covenant.org. You'll find us there. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Covenant Wa. On Instagram, we will make sure that all of the things that we're doing that offer opportunities for others to volunteer, to connect with us, that you'll be seeing those opportunities on our Instagram page as well. So we offer and welcome you to join us on this journey as we disrupt gun violence together and elevate our collective consciousness, y'all. Thanks so much, David.
Thank you, Trey. I'll definitely be in touch. I have some other things I'd like to work with you on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For the community. And my beautiful new auntie, Jackie.
All right.
I definitely need to work with you on some things as well.
Absolutely, nephew.
And
I'm here.
one more thing, if I could say to the people, please check up on your loved ones.
Yes.
There's a lot going on out there. You never want to assume somebody is okay. Why make that assumption? See if they're okay. It only takes a second. And everyone's glued to their phones. So, make time to send people you don't talk to from time to time a text. Just say, hey, how's it going? I've been thinking of you. You fell on my heart today. I just wanted to say hi. So, at least try, do something. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something.
And Thanksgiving is coming up.
On.
So if you're around family members, this is a good time to have that conversation.
Yeah.
How are you? What's been going on? So we're moving into the holidays let's start having those important conversations. We need to do that.
And if any of you out there make great sweet potato pie, I grew up on that. Shout out to. Anyway, I'm sorry. This is about me. But thank you guys so much. This has been an awesome interview, dialogue, and man, I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. And I know the community is behind you 100%, but the work is never done. There's always room for more people to join.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching as well. And like I always say, it's important to take time to take care of each other, but please make sure you take time to take care of yourself. Until next time, stay connected. Peace.